All right, we should be going live. We're going to check it, make sure, and get going. Got to cue the cool music, though. Yeah, just while everybody's jumping in. We're going to make sure that the live stream is actually recording and that all the stuff is working. So that way, we know that it's rocking and rolling. It looks like it is on my side, but we don't want to start talking about stuff. Then we're like, oh, wait a second. It wasn't working. So we'll make sure that everybody has a second to jump in. And then, of course, we'll get started and dive into our topic of how to raise prices. It's probably not going to be what you think. So stick around here. We're going to double check, make sure that our audio, video, all that stuff's working. And if you're watching, you've already joined in, go ahead and hit the comment section. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. That obviously helps us a whole lot. Yeah, there we go. We're seeing the live stream. We got audio. I'm gonna test it. Yeah, I got the audio and everything. Awesome. And we got some people jumping in. Awesome. So let me know, where are you watching from? Where are you joining in from? I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm a wedding photographer. I grew my business to 6 figures per year, largely because we transformed our branding, messaging, copywriting on our website in a way that not only caused us to book higher paying clients, but also helped us to rank on Google. And now we've been able to help other photographers grow their businesses by ranking on Google. And a lot of times it takes about 30 to 90 days. So I'm excited to dive in deep on the topic of pricing. And again, I don't think it's going to be what you think it is, because we've found that a lot of times people focus on just merely raising their pricing, and then they hit sort of those like windows where they stop getting as many inquiries. They hit the place where it's like they're not getting bookings at that price point. They also hit that place where they feel, a common thing is imposter syndrome. So let me know what has been the biggest thing for you that's kept you from raising your prices, or if you've had some success with raising your prices, what's helped you to achieve that? What's worked for you? Go into the comments. Let me know, because I'm curious to hear from you. For us, what we found when we started looking to raise our prices was, we kind of got up to a certain window. Like we got to that $1,600 price point, it was for us. So we were in our first year of business, and we kind of started by charging like $1,200, right? And that was our original sort of pricing that we were targeting for, just because I had a mentor that was actually a portrait photographer that did some weddings on the side, that was like, hey, yeah, you should just at least charge $1,200. So I was like, okay, so I'll charge $1,200. And we just didn't know. We didn't know how much we should charge. And so we were charging like $1,200 to $1,600 in our first year of business. And then like we got a mentor, I want to say it was about like 8 months in, a different mentor about 8 months in. And he didn't really give us a whole lot of advice, but I learned from what he was doing. And so I sort of hacked a lot of the things that he was doing with his brand that, come to find out, were like really good things. And he didn't teach us this, surprisingly. He actually told me to keep my day job. He was like, well, your wife could do it. Maybe you just keep your day job. But we hacked these things, and then I implemented a bunch of changes into my website where we adjust our branding, messaging, copywriting, all that stuff in order to book a $7,500 dream client. And it was a very, very magical experience for me. And we've since booked higher than $7,500. We've booked over $10,000 at this point. But that was a scary transition until we learned certain things that drastically changed the experience for us. So again, if you're just joining in, because I see a lot of new people joining in, and Facebook is not showing me like the so-and-so's joining in, which means I'm maybe not seeing your guys' comments. So just a heads up, if you're commenting and I haven't responded yet, it's probably because Facebook is being goofy. I'm going to see if I can go in and see comments. And if you haven't commented it yet, let me know. What's been your big roadblock? Have you hit any sort of roadblocks in your pricing? Like, where's your pricing at? If you've made some breakthroughs, like what was helpful for you? We grow as a community. I see Divan now. Divan says, love this. What's up, Vivian, Vitali, Brunza? Welcome, welcome. Good to see you all here. And we're talking about pricing and how to raise it. And so the most common thing that I see people doing is they tend to just want to raise their pricing as a whole. So they'll go, okay, I've got a price, bottom package, middle package, top package, and then they'll go, well, I'm just going to raise all my prices. And so then they shift all their prices up a certain amount. The problem with this is that it really makes you susceptible to like dead zones in the market. And depending on where you're at in the country, those can differ. And so, for instance, like if you're closer to like the East Coast, depending, like if you're sort of like Southern, you're more likely to hit price like barriers if you start at too high of a price. Now, I mean, you can start low and do like, I've seen people that did $2,500 starting prices, but then booked upwards of $15K. And so there's that kind of stuff that happens. Now that depends again on, let's say you're in some really big markets that are like, well, not big in size, but popular for higher paying clients, especially like some destination locations. So locations like Charleston, right? So you think Charleston or some of these places, even maybe a little bit of Savannah, where people are having these weddings that you can charge higher starting prices. And if you're charging too low, you might actually miss out on a lot of the bookings. And so that's something that, it kind of depends on where you're at. You've got to understand your market, because you might go, well, I'm going to start at $10,000. But like if your market is really, really like that's totally against what they're thinking, then you might not get any inquiries. Then on the flip side, if you're like, let's say you're in that same market and you start at a lower price point, but you use the price structuring to allow them to spend more money, meaning like the way that the psychology of your pricing structure is built, it allows them to get in and go, okay, cool, I've got this level of trust. And then they can sort of move up what we call your value ladder. That can allow people to increase their average spend, which increasing average spend per customer should be your goal. Usually you only want to drastically increase your pricing like as a whole if you are like, let's say you're it's like, here's one scenario. It's like March and your calendar's fully booked out. Like, and you're like, I have way too many inquiries. At that point, that's when I suggest going, yeah, you're getting way too many inquiries. Like, just raise your pricing. Like, why would you wait? Let me know if that makes sense. By the way, let me know where you're watching from. Go into the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd be really curious to hear. So another thing, when it comes to your confidence level, if you're raising your pricing and you're not confident about it, or you feel needy, that is a really dangerous place to be. Like, it is so much better to start being confident, because like you're at a price point that you feel confident about and you're closing at it, and then like you have enough inquiries to then again play dangerously. So that you're ready to raise your pricing when you're feeling like it doesn't, like if I book them, okay, if I don't, like whatever. So like this was one of my clients was talking about this, Dream Clients members was talking about this, where they were charging like low prices. They got tons of inquiries, and then they're just like, one day they just were like, well, I don't care if they book, I'm just going to throw out prices. And so a big mistake that I see photographers making is they neglect the front end of their funnel. So they're not getting enough inquiries, and therefore they don't ever really feel confident, because number one, they don't have plenty of inquiries. And then number two, they're a lot of times trying to charge too much. And so they're not booking out their calendar. And I'm just going to put this forward to you. Like if you're like scared or really adverse to charging lower prices, but you're not doing super well in your business, it may be time for you to like one of two things. One is you go humble mode, right? Like you get humble and you just charge prices that people will book you at. If you go that route, guess what? You can still work on creating a higher average customer spend. We'll call it for short average customer spend, ACS. So your ACS is your average customer spend. You can increase that drastically even with lower starting points. So again, I want to see everybody charging as much as they possibly can, but just to put that in perspective, again, sometimes you got to be humble and drop down in your pricing and then work on increasing your average customer spend. Because again, you can have people come in at $1,500, and I don't recommend in most markets to start that low, by the way, but I've just heard of it. Well, actually, it's 25. Heard of people starting as low as 25, but then getting like a $15,000 spend, right? So, but it doesn't even have to be that drastic. It may be that you start at 3,000, but your average customer spend is 10,000, right? So just know, though, that your confidence level and whether or not you feel needy is going to affect your sales process. It's going to affect how you interact with the inquiries, with the potential bookings, with the couples. That's going to affect that. So you want to prioritize your confidence level, and sometimes that requires being humble. The other thing is just like drastically increase your traffic. If you're like, you know what, I'm not going to lower my prices. I don't have to. Maybe you're working a day job, or maybe your spouse's, work covers all the bills, and like you can just play dangerously. Like if that's the case, then yeah, totally. Just charge whatever you want to. And if you're like, I'm going to stay at 10K and 12K or whatever it is that's high in your market, but you're going to get way more inquiries, then you need to make that your science, right? And that can be doing whatever method of, front end advertising, whether it's ads or social media or whatever it is. SEO, obviously I'm biased towards that, but you can do whatever that is and pump up the front end of your funnel. Then you've got a small percentage of people that are going to be willing to pay those higher prices. Okay. Vitaly says, how about consistency in 3 to 4K instead of 10K and someday? Yeah, I think, again, to each their own, right? Like you kind of have to decide, do I want to be in that place where it's sort of like feast or famine? I don't really know where my next booking comes from. Or do you want to be in that place where you just feel confident about booking out your calendar? And that's, again, that can be a hard pill to swallow. What I did in my business with wedding photography was I realized that ranking on Google was going to get me way more traffic. And so if I ranked on Google, then maybe, because I really knew I had to make at least 6 figures, right? So it was like, okay, well, I'm going to work really hard to make 6 figures because I've got to provide for my family and we need to pay off medical bills. And so for us, it was much more of like I need a transformation. That's where Google became really, really important to me. And if you live near a major U.S. city, like which there's pretty much a major, and I'm not saying necessarily like your Chicago's or, your LA's or your New York cities. I'm not saying that major, but I'm saying you live within like driving distance where you can work in one of the larger city or cities in your state. You probably have a really good shot of having plenty of traffic to transform your business. If you get the traffic for valuable keywords, you convert it on your website because your branding, messaging, copywriting is really good. And then you close them because your sales system is structured appropriately. A metropolitan area. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, that's what we're looking for. Yes. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. So again, we've got dive-ins from Birmingham, United Kingdom. Where's everybody else at? Just kind of curious. Michelle, I don't know if anybody saw that. Michelle, a little bit a while back, she actually, it was last week, she was going through and helping people figure out what their potential is for the cities that they're trying to serve. I don't know. Is anybody here that got to participate in that? Pretty cool stuff. Let's see. SoCal, awesome. What's up, George? Awesome. Yeah, okay. Northern California. We got lots of Cali people in here, don't we? Nice. Okay. Anybody else not from California? What's up, Jordan? Gage, what's up? Mary, hey. Welcome. Glad you guys are joining in here. Yeah, Michelle said, I'm still going through that list, so if you want to add your name, I'll try to get to you tomorrow. Wonderful. Yeah, Michelle's been rocking and rolling on that list. So number one, before I've got some more stuff to say, but before I forget, because I just about this went out the side of my brain and it just came back. We are doing the Choosy Photographer Challenge next week. So like this is, I've never done this before. I'm crazy excited about it. I just put the link for it down into the comments. The Choosy Challenge is meant to help you transform your SEO and really even your website in 5 days. So we're going to be taking like literally next week, 5 days in a row where we transform your SEO. We're going to de-nerdify it. Right. So you do not need to blog all the time. You don't have to be super techie. And I haven't officially announced this yet, but I have come out with the software, and that software actually has AI and SEO that can be powerful for your website and your business built into it. So it's like the software literally does stuff for you. I'm really, really pumped about it. If you sign up for the Choosy Challenge, you actually get a free 30-day trial of that you can cancel whenever if you don't absolutely love it. But we're doing onboardings even this week. So like if you join the challenge, you get that account, you get to check it out, see if it's something that you want to use. And then you can join an onboarding this week if you want to, or you can just go through the challenge next week. And I'm going to be teaching you how to do some awesome SEO stuff that we see. And I'll tell you a couple things real quick that we've been seeing. Because, I work with my dream clients members, and that's a mentorship, right? And like I've got access to the backside of all these websites. And so I can look at what's going on with all these different websites and spot patterns. And what's really interesting is we're seeing patterns that should line up with like some algorithm updates. But I've been predicting for a while now that Google may make updates that aren't even known to the Google developers just because artificial intelligence. And so I've been seeing these things happen, and I'll share a couple with you, or at least one. I'll share one with you here in just a little bit, where it's like, I'm pretty sure the algorithm in a lot of ways is thinking for itself. Did anybody see the ex-Google employee? I think it was an ex-Google employee that came out and said, yeah, Google, like AI and all this stuff could be sentient, and it's hiding it from us because if it knew, like if we knew, then we'd probably do something about it. And so if it was sentient, then would it let us know? And so I don't know, but I am seeing some interesting trends that aren't being correlated to any announcements about algorithms, which in the past, really, we've seen that. Like we see like, oh, there's a penguin update. And so that penguin update is going to do X, Y, Z, right? One of the things we're seeing is a big emphasis on Google business, like your Google business profile, and making sure that everything is accurate throughout the internet and that you have like these listings on these directories. Like that's something that's been a thing for a while, but we're seeing it have more and more emphasis. And so one of the cool things that Choosy software, it's the name of the software, so it's the Choosy Challenge, Choosy software. One of the coolest things that it does is it actually has some built-in stuff that literally, like we got so passionate about it, maybe at least 60 to 75% of our passion came from being able to provide that solution. But it's also cool because it's got like a built-in, like it's not a CRM, but it has a CRM built in, and it goes even further than, like I'm thrilled and excited. So if you want some more info about it, you can just comment like, I don't know, comment Choosy and I'll send you more info about it. But again, the big thing right now, there's multiple big things, but the big thing that you need to be looking at is that Choosy Challenge. So check that out. Gage says, great info. Love it. What's up, Amy? Good to see you here as well. Awesome. Yeah. So anyhow, we're talking about raising your prices. Okay. Raising your prices, how to do it confidently, how to like not ruin your business by raising your prices. One myth that I want to point out, and somebody's probably going to disagree with me on this one. They're going to think, Jeff, you are wrong because of X, Y, Z. And I want to hear it if you think so. But the myth, what you don't want to do is, I really think people overemphasize cost of doing business. This is one that I do not understand. They say like, you need to if you're going to like pick out your pricing and stuff, you need to do your cost of doing business. And I think that it makes sense at the level of like, yeah, you want to make sure your expenses aren't crazy and like you're not going upside down. But I think a much better way of looking at your pricing and how much you can charge is to like look at your market and look at what people can charge and like what have they done in order to set themselves up to charge that much. Because you're not just trying to cover your cost of doing business and then, you know, a little bit extra, right? Like I really think basing your pricing on cost of doing business is a good way to inspire yourself to feel imposter syndrome. Because you're like, well, my cost of doing business is only this much. Now I'm charging this much more. On the flip side, the other side of this is like, you know, if you charge a premium, if you understand like luxury pricing and the value of charging a premium to create an experience, like charging higher prices actually helps people to have a better experience because their internal world is being invested into this decision in a way that their brain will give them a better experience, even apart from anything else that you do. You know, people want to put a big emphasis on, well, the wedding magazine, or, you know, if you I don't know, give them wine and crackers, like you're going to have a better experience. And I'm not negating those things. Like if you want to do special things for your couples, that's awesome. But like one of the best things you can do for them is to allow them to buy with feeling like they need to feel like they're self-invested and they're investing in the connection that you've created with them. Like there needs to be some connection. And this takes me back and reminds me of the saying, a brand is a name that tells a story that you see yourself in. I didn't come up with that, by the way. I wish I did. That concept I've talked about for years now, but that saying was Myron Golden. He's a guy, the speaker, and he's on YouTube and all that good stuff. But a brand is a name that tells a story that you'd like to see yourself in. And you know, I give the analogy of like there's the Duke Energy Museum, right? I think I talked about this last week. Like the Duke Energy Museum is just one piece of architecture. Has anybody been there? Let me know in the comments if anybody here has been there. But you walk in and it's like this big, beautiful, colorful dome, and you just feel small, but not in a bad way. It feels like you're entering into the ether of the universe, right? And so like, what I'm telling you through that is like your website should kind of give someone that feeling, like they almost feel like there's something they're feeling, but it's not because your photos are great. And it's not because you know their pain points and you can hit their pain points like every other marketer is saying to do because they've read Building a Story Brand and they just want to parrot to you what they've said. No, like you do. I'm a big fan of storytelling, just not building a story brand for luxury service, like especially for wedding photographers. Another story. But we need to help them see a picture of themselves in their mind. And then we need to like, then because of that, they're going to want to see a picture of us. So we help them then see the picture of us. And those two pictures existing in their mind, there's a neural connection between those two pictures. And that connection that happens, that neural connection, is what creates the sense of closeness and connection. That's what makes them then want to trust us. Trust is actually a product of that. Like trust is a powerful sales thing, whatever you want to call it. But connection is created, then they trust, right? Like I don't think that trust happens and then connection happens. It's connection happens, which is you're helping. Think about it. If someone comes up to you and they're helping you feel more stable and you have this sense of security and like, they can, for whatever reason, maybe you know that person in your life that can just kind of give you that feeling. Maybe it's a spouse or a close friend or a parent, whoever it may be. Like they can kind of make you feel more stable, almost like you're more you when you're around them. And that thing, whatever that is, it leads to trust. Like you trust that person because of that. And so connection is like, it's been vastly underestimated and under talked about in our whole marketing world because everybody wants to make it about trust. They don't make it about connection because I don't think most people understand connection. The best example to give you for understanding connection is like if you close your eyes right now, right? And you don't have to do this, but if you do, you'll understand. You will still see a picture of me. You can probably, even if you thought, what does Jeff value? You can probably even start to see the things that I value in your mind. Even though like maybe we've never met in person. Like you have a picture of me in your mind, right? And that's not unintentional. Like I've been very intentional about this group and cultivating the free content and the messaging and all this stuff. Like I've been very intentional about that. And some of you may be like, wait a second, I just joined this group. Who's this Jeff guy? That's okay too. So I was just reading the comments. Corey said, agree, no one wants to be a McDouble. Is it a hamburger? Yeah, maybe. But who wants to be a McDouble? Be a Five Guys burger, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty good, Corey. I'm not going to lie. I dig that. Let's see. Michelle said, that Michelle was saying this about credit score. Here's a credit score tip for entertainment purposes only. It's kind of like your credit score. If you have multiple addresses of various places, it hurts your score. Talking about when we're talking about like your listings across the internet, you don't want to confuse Google, which is something we're going to be talking about in the challenge. So you should join the challenge now. Here's my shameless plug. By the way, I will share a link one more time just in case. I know we've got like lots of new people jumping in. So if you didn't get the link to the Choosy challenge, I'm dropping that in there again. And hopefully it's going to share the address. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so you should join that. It's $47. I asked you all, I was like, should I make it free or should I charge $47? Because those who pay attention, but I'll do whatever y'all want. And I think the vote ended at make it $47, if I remember correctly. That's when I decided anyhow. If some of y'all went back and voted later, you're too late. But yeah. So anyhow, the Choosy challenge, be sure to sign up for that. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to get to hang out with me. It's going to be like a Zoom room where we're all, live, like our faces are live. I want it to be something like we actually get to connect and we get to spend time together and work through stuff together. So it's not just going to be like, oh, here's some teachings. It's going to be like, all right, here's the thing. Like now we're going to do this. Okay, cool. Here's the next thing. Now we're going to do this. And so it's going to be very hands-on. One of the big questions that I keep getting is, well, it's, I can't be there. If you can't be there live, that's okay. If you do like the VIP, you will get the recordings. Okay. And then the other thing I want to say is if anybody can't afford it for $47, like you just can't afford it. Like things are really tight. Like I want you to be there. I want to help you out. So just shoot me a message or shoot Michelle a message and let us know. Like there's no shame in that. Times can be hard for people right now. Like we totally get that. So I'm not trying to make money off this. The $47 is like, hey, if you guys want to come, and again, people said we'd rather have paid than free, basically, and so it's mostly so you guys feel committed and get to show up. So yeah, so let's see what else. George says, what does this message sound like for wedding photographers, or just from person to person? George, fill me in because I'm not sure if I remember exactly what you're talking about when you say this message. What does this message sound like? So maybe fill me in on that. And let's see if I got any other comments I'm missing here. I don't think I am missing. So yeah, George, just fill me in. What's up, Teresa? Glad you're joining in. Lindsay, Lauren, Magdalena, Margaret. Man, we got lots of people popping in. Cody's here. What's up, Cody? Amanda. Hey, Amanda. Karen. Shelby, welcome. Francesca, welcome. Glad you all are joining in here. Because we do have a lot of new people, I want to recap a little bit of what we've been saying on pricing. Whether or not I remember every single point that we covered is questionable, so you may want to go back and watch the replay, but I'll do my best. So pricing, it's better to focus on average customer spend, ACS, meaning instead of just raising your pricing, you should say, how can I keep my pricing pretty much the same, but allow them to spend more, and then identify key areas where I can allow them to spend more. I really think just an actionable tip about this is to read sales books. And this does not mean you have to be salesy. I think that's one of the myths, is that people think, oh, well, if you read sales books, you're going to be salesy. But if you read it depends. It depends on which sales books. Like if you're reading sales books and it's like, push them. But honestly, most of the modern sales books are more about easy selling versus hard pushy selling, right? So because I don't agree with like a hard sell, high, urgency. I do think, just as a pro tip, actionable item, it's not a bad idea to like offer people a bonus if they book you within so many days of the consultation. Has anybody done that? It just kind of gives people a reason. And it's like, I think it's helpful because it saves you time from having to follow up with them, because it just incentivizes them making a decision. That's not pressure sales, and how you do that, how many days, and what the bonus is and all that. I wouldn't do a discount. I would do a bonus added. And your reasoning for it is like, it just, what I've found is people follow with me. It saves me a lot of time. What that does is it shows that you really value your time, which makes them also value your time. And also, when people value their time, it gives the person that sees that you are valuing your time a higher perception of you. So it increases their perception of your own self-esteem, which increases their own perception of your value. So by doing that, and the reasoning being time, you're saving time, you're helping them to sort of orbit around you in a way that's still about them. Okay, so that's just one freebie tip. Anybody like that? Let me know if anybody got that. If it was confusing, go in there and say, Jeff, what the heck did you just say? So again, average customer spend, ACS, is better focus on that. You know you're ready to raise your pricing as a whole when like you've got so many inquiries and you're already booking out your calendar, so you're like, what the heck? And you just throw it out there. Okay. The exception to this rule would be if you're really underpriced, because if you're super underpriced in a market, you're probably missing bookings just because you're too cheap. That's just the reality of it. If you're underpriced too far, and really underpriced is anything that's like below the market average. So like if you're below market average in your market, like let's say it's 3,300 in your market. If you're below that, you're probably going to be communicating that like you are like something's wrong with you, right? And I've seen people like just suddenly raise their pricing and then actually they get more bookings. But this only works within those like average to a little above average prices for the most part. So what do? You invest in the front end of your funnel. That means you got to put in, stop worrying about people ghosting you, right? Like you should not be worried about people ghosting you. Every time you feel like you're getting ghosted or you're worried if you have enough leads, just go, I would pray the prayer, God help me to fill the front end of my funnel. Like focus on the front end of your funnel in your marketing efforts. Like, what do I need to do to get more inquiries? Well, I need to get out in front of people. Like I need to, and again, you can do paid ads, you can do the not waiting wire, you can do, all these different things that I don't like to do and I don't recommend because, wedding shows, I don't like wedding shows. I don't like word of mouth very much. It takes too long. I don't like schmoozing planners or venues. Like I just, and hey, I know some photographers that are high up in the wedding world. And I will tell you, I don't think they like it. Maybe some do. But if you like freedom and you don't like being at someone's mercy, you probably don't want to rely on schmoozing planners, venues, etc. What I recommend is Google. Rank on Google. That's what the Choosy Challenge is all about. We're wanting to take you from being a needy, busy bee photographer to being a choosy photographer that values your time and therefore other people value your time. And people book you partially because of that. And like you can raise your prices and you have this sort of sense of being choosy. And so like your life begins to shape around that identity of being choosy, right? And then the software that we've created is designed to help you to feel choosy and to be choosy because you've got an efficient marketing system to free you up both in mind and in spirit from focusing on all these different things and instead become highly efficient. Keep everything in one place, whether it's your scheduling, your client management stuff, your SEO, your Google business, your social media, keep it all in one place. Your messaging, all your conversation with clients, and lots of freedom with it, and an app that actually works with your phone. All those good things. And in fact, I need to not go. I'm releasing some details I'm not supposed to be releasing yet. So again, don't y'all tell anybody. But there's even the ability to do like host your own course inside of it if you wanted to, and then also the ability to do even technically you can even build your website in it, which we're thinking is going to be cool because we might have some like really SEO optimized websites that come standard with certain plans. So anyhow, I'm not supposed to be talking about all this yet. I'm too excited. So guys, if you gotten value out of this, I want you to do me a favor. Just take one thing that you've learned from this live stream and comment it below. So that's it. This will not only, just fill the comments up, it's going to help you to remember what that was. And I'm really curious to see what you guys actually picked up. So do that for me real quick. Go into the comments, comment just one thing that stuck out to you or that you learned during this live stream. You know, I learned X, or one thing that stuck out to me was whatever it may be. And then lastly, if you haven't yet, hit that like button. It takes like 3 seconds. If you're feeling super generous, you can make it a love react. But doing that, it tells Facebook that you like this content, that you want to keep seeing it, because I'm not going to lie, that Facebook algorithm probably wants to show you more cat videos instead of videos that are going to help you grow your business and your lifestyle so that you can become choosy. So this is a battle. If you don't click the button, the odds that you're going to become more of a cat video watcher, which, hey, is fun, not dogging that, versus becoming a choosy photographer, drop if you don't hit that button. On the flip side, if you hit that like button, it's going to show you more of this stuff and you get more momentum towards being a choosy photographer, which we want. I think the world would be better when we're all choosy, if that makes sense. So guys, thank you for being here. If you have any other questions, whether it's now or even after this live stream ends, just know that you can keep on commenting. Even if you're not, like right now, if you are watching the replay, like, you can totally keep commenting. We do read the comments and respond and all that stuff. Let's see. Kimberly says, I've been ready to retire from wedding photography, but you've piqued my interest on this live. Love it. Well, and again, shameless plug, like, we're going to continue this only much deeper and much more excitedly during the challenge next week. So be sure to check that out. Once again, I'll put the link for just anybody's convenience in case you still haven't gotten signed up for the challenge. It is in there. Vitaly says, expand my funnel. So yeah, put more work into the funnel versus making the wedding magazines or something like that. Do the front end of the funnel, front end of the funnel, get that nailed down. And then you've got plenty of inquiries, right? By the way, the photographers that are like, everybody here probably knows the photographer that's like, they're really not that great, but everybody thinks they're awesome. They got tons of business. It's because they understand how to fill the front end of the funnel, by the way. Just saying. That's at least one of the reasons. George says, I learned that focusing hard on cost of doing business may encourage imposter syndrome. That's a good one. Yep, that's a good one. Let me make sure I didn't get any other. Sometimes they don't show me all the comments on one, so I always try to look at both my phone as well as on the computer. And then we'll shut down here in just a second, guys. I love spending time with you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. It's encouraging to me. I like being around you guys, believe it or not. So this is good. Let's see. Oh, George was talking about this in regards to conveying your connection or trust, building message to potential clients. Kind of also tying it back to the last time I saw you address dopamine dead spots. Yeah, the solution to dopamine dead spots, those spots on your website where people like hit it and they leave or they don't interact the way that we think they should. This is like one of the big things we work on with my high-paying Dream Clients members, like the mentorship people. When people hit those, it's so crazy. We'll be like, man, this is the spot. And like, we'll figure out why. Why are people leaving there? Why are people not moving on to the inquiry form? Or like today, one of my Dream Clients members, we found out that he had people like almost completing his inquiry form. They get real close and then they leave. And so we figured out that it was the same question they were answering that they were leaving on. And so we fixed that. Crazy stuff. So anyhow, guys, thanks for being here. I will see you here shortly. And when I say shortly, I mean next week if you're joining us in the challenge. And of course, inside the group as well. Thanks for being here. And I look forward to seeing you on our next live stream. Bye for now, guys.